Chapter 6. The 100th Gilded Age. Drake believed it was time for me to switch to lighter duties. Fortunately, it was a clear night when I reached the capital. When I disembarked, my reports of TBR movements I received were concerning. During the previous night, little propaganda leaflets were dropped on the city by a plane. Warning from TBR to the collective people. The truth has been withheld from you. We will not relent. Let the party bring you down if you want. We are coming by day and by night. Alarm, 1200. Stand by for truth. Rebels are only 19 miles outside Historia City. Air raid shelters are being opened. Volunteer fire watchers are needed. The conscript age has been expanded to 16 to 75 years of age to join. Report to your local recruitment center. SI, agents will be hunting for deserters. The doomsday clock is in effect set at 1 minute till midnight. Victory through our leader Hail Alpha Party. Motors and artillery were sounding off almost hourly, hammering the streets, gutting the buildings while we moved like rats through their bones. The skyline groaned with smoke and the distant hiss of fire. Still, the procession had to continue. Even in war, pageantry had its place. Drake had been busy while I was away, busy clawing upward. He now bore a higher rank in the party, and it sat on his chest like a fat golden tumor. As we drove toward the Capitol building, we were dressed to the teeth, buttons polished, creases sharp enough to draw blood. The uniforms were parade cut, the kind reserved for men who would not be expected to bleed in them. Don't make eye contact with anyone above your rank. Yes, sir. Do not speak out of turn. Yes, sir. Open the door for me. Yes, sir. I stepped out, my boots hitting the war-wet pavement, and opened the door like a servant. He emerged slowly, savoring the silence that followed his step. The Capitol loomed, once white marble, now a stained monument to disrepair. War had gnawed through its flanks, and black scaffolding gripped its bones like bandages on a corpse. But inside was untouched. Inside was theater. The foyer sparkled beneath glass chandeliers, still miraculously intact. The aroma of roasted meat and sweet imported wines pressed against the senses like a velvet noose. It was suffocating. They were all there. The untouchables, clad in gowns and uniforms stitched from forbidden fabrics, reeking of imported oils and arrogance. Laughing in clusters, teeth flashing like predatory animals. I saw them glance at me, the soldier, the butcher, the errand boy for the machine, and turn back to their caviar and cruelty. I felt the dirt of the trenches still under my fingernails. Their perfumes did nothing to mask the rot. The music shrieked from violins and brass, a manic overture to madness. Most of them were past drunk, some drugged beyond recognition. They danced like marionettes cut from their strings, giggling, collapsing, pawing at each other like spoiled children. Pretending the city wasn't burning just outside. Drake strode through them like a blade through butter. They parted, offered shallow salutes and insincere smiles. Smiles for the man with blood still fresh on his boots. His boots lunged against the floor with each heavy step, echoing. We came to one of them, an untouchable. Small, slight, skin like wax. Clean-shaven, an oily little bastard with eyes like two dead pearls. He and Drake exchanged the salute. Crisp, hollow. I stood behind them, still, waiting to be dismissed like furniture. As I expected, the untouchable said, swirling a glass of amber liquor. Negotiations with TBR won't bring any good results. If anything, they'll make things worse. The same happened with the previous administration. His voice was too calm for the stakes. Polished, practiced. The words didn't seem to belong to him. They belonged to a memo, to a press release, to a script passed hand-to-hand in candlelit war rooms. You simply can't negotiate in good faith and just hope to bully your opponents into submission, he continued without looking at either of us. That might work with Aglia or Aflad, but it would never work with terrorists like this. He sipped, slow and theatrical. I watched the chandelier light break across his glass like a shattered halo. TBR. Those 3 letters carried weight now. Rumors said they had cells in the city. Others said they were just a myth. A phantom that justified more firepower, more surveillance, more of us. What would you recommend? Drake asked, though I could already hear the sneer curled behind the words. The Untouchable smiled like he had been waiting for that question all night. Suppression, he said flatly. No trials, no negotiations. Purge the sympathizers, control the story. Call it peacekeeping, call it containment, call it whatever you like. But don't let this cancer spread. He tapped the rim of his glass. We learned that too late last time. I stood at attention, but inside I was boiling. This wasn't war anymore. It was a theater of extinction. They wore their uniforms like costumes, spoke of violence like administrators. None of them had burned an archive with their own hands. They are going to go bust as foreign buyers see how ineffective they are in actual combat. Their guns and ammo have high failure rates. They won't fly their fighters and bombers into the city because they are no match for our modern radar. Drake replied, This archive thing that is springing up among the ghettos? Yes, where the last windmill stopped. Yes, I am quite irritated. I must say we are working diligently to eradicate it. Drake explained. I guided the Untouchable and Drake as they engaged in a conversation that blended into the background noise around the Capitol building. We wandered through numerous corridors and around various corners, with Drake frequently glancing back at me to ensure my fake smile was in place. I spotted a door down a long hallway marked 001, and I had a strange sense of déjà vu, as if I had encountered this door in my dreams. I thought of that door even through our dinner courses, I wondered, and yet I knew whose door that was. We were invited guests, but not the attention of the evening. The voice of the collective was present, dressed in his Alpha Party war hero attire. He sat among us quietly at first. No one wants a democracy since majority rule can be biased, racist, manipulated by inflammatory propaganda, what have you. The point of a republic is that the judiciary is supposed to protect minorities from majority rule abuses. Nothing has made me pink more. One spoke. Freedom is corrupt by definition because its reason for being is to exploit the state for gain. Political, personal, and financial. At every turn, it is at war with the rules and institutions that impede rigging, robbing, and gutting the state. We know what to expect from free people, said another Untouchable. Let me tell you a riddle, Commandant. Are you aware of the reason why individuals have consistently voted against their interests? While a segment of the population may act out of ignorance, it often seems that an underlying self-loathing influences these choices. An old one stated, then the voice of the collective cleared his throat and there resonated, Do you know there once was a great empire known as Rome? Through programs they called Cura Annonae and Alimenta. These programs helped to feed the poorest of Romans. Do you know why they did this? Because it was the Roman thing to do. Sounds like a barbaric thing to do, letting leeches feed off the state for free. A female Untouchable concluded. The fall of democracy occurred shortly after this we have written now. You see, there existed a virus at the close of the previous century known as empathy. This phenomenon resulted in increased wait times, food distribution devoid of profit, and a flourishing of cultural diversity. What came of all of it was profit loss. The voice said, slamming his hand on the table. Let's toast here and forever to the 100th Gilded Age. People spend all their time in a fantasy land. If it is the best product that brings any kind of hope available, competitively priced and reliable, then it is the best contract for the money, and the government is obligated to choose it. How they feel is irrelevant. How good a value is what matters, the old one said. When a familiar voice jumped in, he stood next to the table opposite of me. You billionaires all think everything is a scheme. Just because you have hundreds and hundreds of dollars, you don't have to worry about food, bills, health, or everyday essentials. He raised a revolver high in the air through the music and laughter, firing the cannon multiple times into the Untouchables. Streams of blood flowed against the fine background. This act of monstrous treason against the collective state. I couldn't catch the assailant's face, and when I did, surprise, surprise, it was Joshi. We hadn't seen each other for some time, yet it wasn't him staring at me with a cannon. He was dressed in rebel rags with pages of the archive pinned to his body. I hesitated, but he cleared his cylinder quickly into anything living at the table. I didn't draw my pistol at all or even move. Several shots made their mark in his chest from Drake's pistol, leaving him caterwauling in pain. Crouched underneath the table, Drake suddenly held his pistol at me with disgust. Why did you let them die? You knew this man, didn't you?